so that they come in is a dangerous move. And let me tell you something, you can tell me what you want. This country, it is nothing, we're not going to reverse that like that, because we're talking about infrastructure around Dominica, we're talking about government infrastructure with respect to the systems. They are all damaged, and I will tell you, we need people, just like Mr. Francis, to come and head this kind of debate, to get us on track. And Mr. Francis, I want you to comment on that finally. The question is that, if the government is involved in so much social work, is it going to encourage other agencies that are willing to give support to people who need to come in? Because the government seems to be the savior of the elderly, of the children, of everybody they see. Does that encourage people that want to, let's say, have an NGO to come in there and say, okay, Dominica needs help, let me just establish and get, because it looks like it's counterproductive. Here it is that agencies may want to come in and help, but the government doing what it's supposed to do already. Isn't that dangerous?
All right, let me follow up with a question to your question. And with all of the monies that we're hearing about floating around the country, 250,000, 250, 500,000, monies for this, monies for that, is Dominica poor?
You could have a family more or less living in poverty or are poor, and family members in Canada, United States keep sending money down for them, £100 or 100 US every month and so forth. You have to ask the question and put it in perspective. Are they poor? What are they doing with that money? Are they investing it to sustain them? Because that cannot continue happening. Somebody in England always sending money down, and you keep asking, send some money down or give us this money. You're going to have them in poor because it's not being invested. The problem we have is, are we in a serious investment mood in this country that is sustainable, that is of qualitative impact, and reaches out the entire Dominica? We first have to rebuild our institutions and let it be operated individually, not by a politician. Not by any prime minister, not by any minister, not by any other
This
minister.
is not sustainable.
You have to look, and people are asking themselves, where is this going? We are building buildings for hotels and so on. Is it sustainable in the sense of bringing in tourism here? Do we have the environment and the entertainment for that? You go in communities, and the village councils actively involved in being a serious partner in designing and saying what sort of hotel we want in our area. I mean, Dominica appears to be one constituency for one person. We're supposed to have about 21 constituencies. The parlor reps, the respective parlor reps, wherever they come from, and the village council are supposed to be working together. That's how it is by the system that we adopted from the UK. That's how it operates.
But what do you tell the people, though, the supporters of the ruling administration of Scarrett? What do you tell them? I mean,
wake up.
Wake up. That's what you said?
You have to wake up, talk to other people.
Because they've seen this money is going around.
This thing is a soap opera thing with a great actor. This is what it is. And you have actors following it on. They are scared to address openly to the Prime Minister what is happening and what should be happening. If not, they will lose their position. Wherever I served as head of director, child fund, or whatever, I ask for critics. I want to know I'm doing well. And I want to know everybody's doing well. We had meetings and people had to be open and not afraid to say anything.
They are afraid.
Right now, people even out of the civil service do not want to say anything much because, oh, I will talk to the PM for you. I mean, what nonsense is this?
Let's take a phone call. Hello. 8:59. We have a few more minutes. Hello.
To Mr. Joseph, to Matt, to the listening public, good morning.
Morning.
Thanks for service to country, for reaching out for the poor and the less, the children who are voiceless. Thanks for being so truthful and honest and accountable in all what you say. God will not hold you guilty for talking the truth. It's people like you we need in this country to develop and upgrade our country. And I am always saying it. This has been the worst 17 years in the history of Dominica. We have never seen anything like that.
She's right, Mr. Jones. She's right. She's right.
She's right.
All right. Go ahead, Mom.
We have never seen anything like that in the past. And then the people that do not want to talk, they are afraid of being victimized, they are being bribed. And while they want to chastise Honorable Lennox for saying that they are prostituting the young people and the women of this country for favors, 2 days ago, a lady was right at my home and she's telling me the same thing, that one parrot is telling them, do not go to the other parrot because it's sexual favors he's looking for, and it's people he can have intercourse with alone he is doing favors for. So it is happening up to a day like today. And there is a lady in my community that they gave her house. The house hasn't got any electricity and any water. They say they're looking for the homeless and the less fortunate and the elderly people. This lady do not have anybody to stretch her hand for her. When they put her in a house without any water and without any electricity, is that a goat they put in a park? Please do something for this lady. She's in a situation where she's in need of. It's not because you cannot look to her for sexual favors that you just abandon her. Thank you very much.
Somebody says here to me, Matt, good morning to you. Very, very good, sensitive program. I'm expecting to hear a tongue lashing. I warned you, Mr. Joseph. A tongue lashing on Mr. Joseph. We are used to that on people who speaks the truth. We will always have that problem unless an independent body is formed to deal with it. You can't solve a problem with the same level of intelligence that's creating it.
The people who may want to give the tongue lashing are the ones in pain, not me. I mean, it's nice to hear them. It just gives me more ammunition to assess the situation as it is in Dominica.
902, quickly, hello. Hello, are you there, caller? No, you're not. All right, let's try another call. Hi.
Good morning, Matt.
Morning to you.
Good morning to Mr. Joseph.
My brother from Laplane, my co-worker from way back then when we started community development and the self-help scheme.
You take me with
Ouch.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Matt, I want to commend Mr. Joseph.
Uh-huh.
Having worked with him in the establishment of the local self-help scheme in Dominica, we worked together. And his approach to his job was always, and he maintained, non-partisan. He always indicated to me, do my job. He knows where I am politically, but do my job without any political interference. But it is very, very notable that he has developed and grown significantly in his job, and I want to commend him for having done such a wonderful work. And today, I am proud of you, Mr. Joseph. Having worked with you, you have not let down those men whom you trained. Now you are a social scientist. Keep on doing the good work that you are doing for Dominica. You have always been non-partisan, and you have demonstrated it throughout your career. Keep holding on, Mr. Brother.
Thank you, mister. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello. On the telephone, we don't have too many minutes, but we'll take a few phone calls. Hello.
Yes, Matt. Good morning. I'm going to be very short. Good morning.
Yes, strictly.
Mr. Joseph, I wish you all a pleasant day.
Good morning.
Joseph, you mentioned about the Red Clinic, and you said that on your way out from the ministry, you overheard a sitting minister criticizing you.
No, not overheard. It was said to me directly. When I asked why, what's happening there, and the person's face looked very upset and
okay.
Yes, go ahead, caller.
So that tells me there are still people of principles within the cabinet and people with integrity. My question to you is, what do you believe? In your opinion, why do you believe that these people are not standing up for the country? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Before you answer that question, I'll take another comment or question there. Hello.
Matt, morning to you.
Morning, yes.
And your listeners, Matt.
Uh-huh.
Matt, in the interest of time, I want to say a very special thank you to Mr. Francis this morning.
Yes.
For basically coming in and speak his mind as it relates to the issues that are affecting Dominica.
Mm-hmm.
But I know you're running out of time, so I will not be long. But Mr. Francis made a comment and he said, to him, he don't want Dominica to get like Haiti, and he was giving all the comparisons.
Mm-hmm.
But Matt, from where I sit, because I am a man on the ground.
Yes, I see that.
And we are there. We might not be at the magnitude at which Haiti is now, but we are there. But when you have people cannot pay their bills, people cannot buy what they need, not what they want, what they need. They basically have to force to buy what they need to eat to stay healthy. Just go around town, Matt. Talk to any of the businessmen around town. People used to make at least $1,000 in their shop, in their boutique, in their restaurant. They are basically struggling to survive. So, Matt, we are there already. Haiti did not get that way as it is today. It is a process. And as Mr. Francis is saying, and others, if we don't make a turnaround, we will get there. And I want to thank Mr. Francis, thank the intellectual, because we always call them to speak. People like Dr. Pin Pascal, people like Dr. Sevre, people like Reverend Watty, Lennox Linton. These guys, they're basically telling us as it is in Dominica. But for some of us in Dominica, we are not listening. It's only when the rooster come home to roost, we will understand. Matt, keep on the good work. Thanks for the opportunity.
All right. Thank you very, very much. As I said to you, we're taking as many calls as possible. I'm trying to wrap up about 9:15. Let's take another phone call. Hello.
Good morning.
Uh-huh.
Mr. Francis Joseph?
Yes.
Yes, good morning. Thank you.
Dip, 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 dop, dop, dop.
Dip, dop, 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 yes. Quickly.
Prepared. Matt wouldn't know about that. But, when I listened to the news this morning regarding the financial contribution which was presented by Dr. Daru, the parliamentary representative for that area, for the basketball court. That's what I asked, and I didn't know that Francis was going to be, and I didn't know that you were going to have a discussion this morning. But I said, but what madness is that? Again? I mean, this is a significant number of money. There was a sports division in all that. There must be a sports officer assigned to that area. And he was not wrong at all, not even to say, okay, I am in support of it or whatever it is. Nothing at all. Money's contribution, monies are being given in terms of health, in terms of education, in terms of everything, and no representative from the government departments are there. It's a politician who is just giving it out all the time. A politician is just giving it out all the time. Francis has worked in local government, and I mean he has told you some of it. And he was there because the person who was responsible for him at the time didn't stand for nonsense either. He didn't stand for nonsense. That's where he got his training. And that discussion has to continue. It has to continue.
We will continue with, of course, Mr. Francis once he's available. Like I said, he's just passing through, so we just grabbed him on, huh? Hello, talk to me.
Yes, Matt, but you had me on and you caught me off early on. But I forget my trend of what was. Mr. Joseph, thank you for standing for Dominica, and thank you for speaking the truth, and for the children of Dominica. You stood for them, Mr. Joseph. Mr. Joseph, I just want to thank you because Matt make me forget what I do.
Next time, write it down, okay? And sorry for having you stand the line there. I have even politicians, and pile reps calling in because they want to make a contribution of one kind or the other. 908, hello.
Yes, good morning, Matt.
Morning.
Mr. Joseph.
Good morning to you.
I just came in and I started hearing what you were saying. Mr. Joseph, I don't know how to thank you again. Thank you. There are most of us that is afraid, not me, of saying those things there. But you are saying the right thing, truth, and everything. And I've never seen a Dominica in that state as it is there right now.
He's saying it as it is, huh?
Yeah.
Thank you, too. Hello, talk to me. Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Welcome back, Mr. Joseph. And Matt, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've been hearing on Dominica news all about, and even on your show, about poverty in Dominica. But as I have already said, it is so easy to understand. Our national debt has multiplied by 3. Our unemployment has been rising drastically. For people to think that Dominica, because money is being shared, how long will it last? We have to understand, and these things are going on in Dominica. Unemployment is rising, so I am looking at it. NEP is the highest employers. Right now, the highest employers in Dominica is NEP. What is NEP? NEP is just a shadow of employment is little pots and pans. They're putting date in it and put flowers wrong, Dominica. You think that is employment, man? I understood that they are paying Social Security now, but I am sorry for my... Well, I don't have far to go again, but I can tell you, Social Security will run empty, the fund will run empty in Dominica, because I see employment is going down, is rising, unemployment is rising so drastically that there will be no fund in the Social Security soon.
910, what is your take on the NEP?
In a concept which one has to welcome because it's targeting young people and getting them engaged. If you recall, well, right now it is done as a political gimmick to win people over, and this is unprofessional. The youth division has been operating way before this government ever came in, and they have been operating, sending people to different areas on placements. When I was in Child Fund, we had youth people from placements and in the various communities. If it is done that way, it has to be questioned how it initiated and how it came about and how it's been sustained. If it is a political stuff, it shouldn't be. We have our institutions who can support these people. We need to know who is supervising them, who is appraising them, who is guiding them in what they are doing, how they are implementing what they are supposed to be doing, where are the weaknesses, where are the faults, how you're going to get them to a higher level, and they need to be supervised, they need to be analyzed, and to have some report of their accomplishment and their weaknesses that they can move on. If it remains just this political stuff, it is not necessarily helping, because it appears to be something related to a party, a leader, and this is what is being promoted. It is not good, and the stigma that is likely to be placed on those young people is false, it is wrong, and putting them in that kind of situation is not a good one. I want to stress the point again. We have good institutions within the government service. It has to be looked at. It has to be rebranded in a way which addresses 2017 situation in Dominica as it is now, and poverty is an issue for all of us.
All right, I'm going to take a final call there. I think it's Mr. Ronald Charles. He too has done some work in social services as well, and I've been trained a sociologist. He's on the line with me, Mr. Charles. I see you very tuned in this morning to the program.
Matt, I'll be very honest with you. First of all, let me say good morning to your guest, Mr. Francis.
Good morning.
Been in the field of social development for a while now, and I believe when persons like that can share their views on the way forward, it must not be used as a stick against them, but it must be used and embraced and therefore implement, so that Dominica becomes the winner in all of this. Because I'm hearing the call of attacks and all that. This is always, I think this is the DNA of the ruling government. They have their soldiers all over the place listening, and then it's an attack. At the end of the day, I think it's all about winning, and Dominica must win. The thing is, this is the perspective in which Mr. Francis has put it, is one which we must take in very seriously and take in deeply. Because social development is really a component of sustainable development, right? It is and it's really about improving humanity and the well-being of society, and more so social development, Matt, it enables people to progress towards self-sufficiency. If we look at what the government has been doing, we say thank you, of course, some infrastructural development and so forth. But look at our social programs. Look at the Roseau Valley, for example. When we have we don't even have a community center as we speak, somewhere where people can go, socialize, meet each other, and discuss things, bring up issues of young people, issues and problems and so forth. I'm wondering whether or not there is even an issue as it relates to the summer programs. These are the kind of activities that assisted many of us when I was growing up. This was the kind of thing that I look forward to, and I remember the names like Davis Lita and Shirley Alexander and John Roach. These are the persons that I attended their sessions and go to the summer camp programs and so forth. And it's helped shape my thinking and the way forward. And therefore, what is going on? Yes, we welcome it because the government has an obligation to make sure that our social our infrastructural development are done, because that's why we pay taxes, that's why we do VAT, that's why we do these things. So at the end of the day, to tweak it, to let it look like these infrastructural development is really of a labor thing, and then the only way it's going to happen is if labor is there. And therefore, you have the stifling of the social development programs that is supposed to assist young people, that is supposed to assist our society to move forward. Because as we all know, when we have a system where it's a dependency syndrome on just the government going to provide a home, the government is going to do this, the government is going to do that. Of course, the government has its areas that it has to provide these necessities, but it cannot continue to believe that this is the way forward and therefore the government is going to do it. But it's not going to happen. And that's why we have to bring back the whole issue of these groups, like the welfare division, and empower them, give them the necessary tools, the money. I want to hear that the government is saying that I am now going to put in the social welfare hands $20 million to take care of our vagrants, for example, or to do this. These are the kind of things that we know that will assist our society. And therefore, we can have a society all of us will be proud of, where we have infrastructural development, but we also have the development of our human beings and the development of persons to be self-sufficient, to be able to do things for themselves, and therefore we'll have a much, much better society to live in, which we all can be proud of as Dominicans.
9:16. We're going to take a break. I can tell you, thank you, Ronald Charles. Somebody's sending me here online, Matt. This program is buzzing online. Wow, please keep this program going, okay? So we're going to take a break and then we'll come back. This is Q95.
Madam, I report exactly what she meant in the pharmacy where I read the good boss in class if you want to support and learning. It is how cafe Episa and not well my last 2 words. Episa. Harry upon yes is true. Pisa money on Tipotla. Don't get him up to make the urine and see him 3 times a day. Madam Lily, do urine Harry, mew no medicine who's shape are you? And where's the prescription? It me a posh mommy. What's the sense of buying that? No, you see the importance of going to your pharmacist, listening to your pharmacist, and having confidence in your pharmacist. PS.plus will they place a higher premium on patient-pharmacist relationship than Quick Care Pharmacy Kote Halsbro just before the National Bank. Kote Quick Care is not just a quick fix. It's not just about tablets and spoonfuls. They've brought back the care into medicine. Whether it's a prescription or over-the-counter medication, the priority is your health. To take the right medication, the right amount for the right reason. Madam Harry, I see right in your medical book, next of kin, Henrietta Harry, movie farmer. By the way, it's next of kin, packing, the Harry Ukakemo movie. All I want for you is good care. That is why I always recommend Quick Care Pharmacy. We go to Halsbro.
Beat the heat. You want to feel cool all the time? Well, here's a deal of a lifetime. Own today a top quality air conditioned unit from Tong Refrigeration. It's as easy as $186 monthly. Anybody can have it. Just ask for the Cool and Easy payment plan. Cool and Easy at Tong Refrigeration at Fokole. Terms and conditions apply.
Who wouldn't want some extra cash in their life? On say Paul who Sipoteo? Take advantage of the Big Edge Financial Back to School promotion from now until September 8th. Secure new loans for all purposes early and wait. Pay 10 money coming. Pay $10 coming. First prize $1,500 cash and $700 shopping spree. Second prize $1,000 cash and $500 shopping spree. Third prize $800 cash and $300 groceries. Fourth prize $300 cash and $200 groceries. Call us at 440-9009, 225-9009 or 612-9009. Big Edge, come in to see us today. We promise you will be satisfied. With the Big Edge, you'll get that extra edge, that financial edge with the Big Edge. Come in or catch that back to school financial edge promotion. Big Edge, financing your most cherished moments. Terms and conditions apply.
With you.
All right, we're back, and we have another phone call. Yes, I've extended the time a little bit here, given the popularity, if you will, of this program, and Mr. Francis talking on some social issues this morning On the phone, hello.
Hi, good morning, Matt.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Francis Joseph.
All right, that's Mr. Joshua Francis.
Good MP for the Road.
Good morning.
Good morning, yes.
Mr. Joseph is the son of the Lubia soil.
Yeah.
And I want to publicly thank him for the work he has done for Dominica and for the Kalinago territory in particular. I recall a few years ago, Mr. Joseph was a champion on the issue of adoption of Kalinago children. And I think that he made a very important impact because back then we had quite a number of Kalinago children who had been adopted in exchange for money. And it was Mr. Joseph who engineered a movement to stop that practice. And we understand the importance of raising our own children, of course, due to the hardship in the Kalinago territory back then. A number of parents were making their children available for adoption in exchange for money. So I want to thank him for that. Now, Mr. Joseph made a point in regards to depopulation or the changing social structure in several rural places in Dominica. And I think he mentioned Castlebrooke. And I think we need to do a case study to verify what Mr. Joseph has said. We have observed quite a change in some rural places in Dominica where we are experiencing depopulation or an outflow of people from the rural communities. And that may be as a result of the absence of a strategic program for rural places in Dominica. We have no real rural socio-economic strategic programs for our rural places. And with the experience where export has declined and agriculture has declined in some places, we find our young people not having opportunities, not getting jobs. The social life has declined, and as such, they have sought refuge elsewhere. We should not sit by and allow this to happen. Of course, when you make a close analysis of some social or some communities in Dominica, you would note that remittances are what's keeping the communities going. So it is important that we build on the conversation which Mr. Joseph has started and to pay a closer look at our rural places. Because if we don't, the viability of some places will be very, very poor. I mean, why would people want to continually go to cities to fare? The population is dwindling, nothing is happening there, agriculture is dead. Then it's going to become more expensive to maintain these communities in terms of fixing roads, providing social facilities, etc. So I'm not going to take up more time, Matt. I just think that the conversation which has been started by Mr. Joseph is very important. I hope that Mr. Joseph and myself can talk as far as what we could do for the young boys in my constituency, because I'm sure he is concerned about the marginalization of our men, our young boys who are going to prison, our young men who are finding themselves in trouble, and there isn't any rehabilitation center or clinics where they can be given a second chance as far as counseling is concerned.
Yes, there's a major issue developing in your constituency as well. I heard the DAT president, Mr. Joshua, president, talking about a health center being built somewhere in the school or by the school.
Well, again, that is a manifestation of improper strategic planning by the government of Dominica. A lot of things are being done vice-versa. The Newtown community has had a health clinic for a number of years. And the condition of the clinic, as it were, was very poor. And the government has now sought an alternative area, and they have selected a house which is right next to the newly built Newtown Primary School. Of course, some persons are outraged, and others are satisfied, as usual. But it's something that we are looking at, and we hope that the government eventually builds a proper clinic for the people of the Newtown community and environment.
Well, I'll tell you, we'll have a further discussion. I would want to visit the site of that proposed clinic, and we'll have another discussion. Joshua Francis, thank you. But Mr. Joseph, basically, our time has come and gone, and telephone's still going crazy. Any final comments or any parting? Because I know you'll be back.
Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for all those who call and those who have listened. Joshua made a lot of reference to our institutions and undertaking certain tasks. They have to be empowered. The only way you're going to have positive social economic development is to have the people engaged in it. They have ideas, they can initiate ideas, and while they're on the ground doing stuff, they can initiate it. What we need is a good governance and a good government and a good parliament overseeing and designing policies, which is their right to do and to put it in law, which gives mandates and transparency and good governance that we follow. It cannot be a central government thing. You're not going to get development with a central government thing. You're not going to have it with individual parliamentary representatives running around giving this and the PM send this and so forth. It won't work. The role of the parliament rep is to listen to their people and go in parliament and advocate for them, not advocate for their party and a prime minister. This is not good. It goes against all the principles of good governance, of transparency, of the level of accountability. We need our people to understand what's happening. If you have been called upon just to be receiving cash and so on, my advice to you is turn it down, try to get yours, and try to say, I want development for myself, not to be sitting down waiting on cash while my family deteriorates. Ask for employment, ask for investment, and ask for things good, which is going to build you up and your family. You are responsible first for your family and your children and your community, no one else. Anyone from outside, be the government minister who comes into your community, they are invited to your community and you welcome them and they have to listen.
My final comment or question is, you have indicated there that this country is sliding.
Yes.
How do we turn things around, Mr. Joseph?
Either we change the government or the government recognize and wake up one day that we need good governance and they have to change the old vehicle that they are riding on. It's not going very far. It's polluting the community, let's put it this way. That is what we need. People need to go. You see, there's a thing about, you know, the opposition and this, and it's just nonsense talking as against talking about development. It appears the opposition is a threat, and that is the problem. And don't touch my PM. I'm saying it boldly because that is what I hear out there. And that is not going to work. This country doesn't belong to one person. You come in, you do your service, you exit. There are other areas and avenues you can contribute to the development of this country.
Thank you very much. Well, I'm just hoping sometime in the near future that we would be able to welcome you back, Mr. Joseph.
We need to update and see what progress is being made so we can keep the government on their toes. Any government, as to how they are operating.
You're going to be around all this week, you think?
Before Friday.
Before Friday. All right, maybe we'll invite him on Talk on the Block sometime before that. Well, we'll talk, Mr. Joseph. Okay. Thank you. Thank you
very much.
9:27, it was a very interesting program. Thank you very much. Let's listen to this, Mr. Joseph, and maybe join the farmers for 5 minutes and comment on this comment that they want to talk about.
The man sits there, abuses people on the radio, scandalizes people on the radio, and playing big boucher, putting his suit, his triple suit, and going England in the Privy Council to fight a case, and then you come in Dominican and tell him and you only have $300 a month. So when you do the maths, 44 years the man will take to pay. Linton is about 60 years. So I mean, the man will be older than my Pampo when he will pay that money back. I will tell you before I move on that one of the cases which the ministers brought against him, where he asked for $1 million, I am saying to Linton tonight that when the court make its pronouncement on how much you have to pay Roosevelt's carriage, if you don't have money, Mr. Linton, you have to go and work on my farm for me.
Mr. Linton, if you don't have the money, come and work on my farm. What does that really mean, Mr. Luis here? He has worked all his life on the farm, and I suspect he wants to comment on what, and of course Mr. Joseph is here with us for a moment, but we're going to take Mr. Louis first. He's going to join the farmers, as we speak on this very sensitive, I think, sensitive subject. Mr. Louis, good morning. You're joined by Mr. Joseph this morning.
Great man.
Yes.
Great man, of course. Great
man, indeed. Matt, I have pain as I sit down there.
I know.
Pain. But it behoves me to
Go ahead.
You want me to be here and sitting down over by Mr. Joseph Days. It's just a pleasure.
Thank you.
Right. Matt, I would like to say something about the statement made by the Prime Minister, but let me greet everybody around the world that listens up to 95, including my sons, my daughters overseas, my grandchildren, and my great-grandchildren. Matt, I'm old enough. In Salisbury Village, there are only 6 men in the village that is older than me. Only 6 remain. And many, many younger than me gone. I am still there. I must believe I'm there for a purpose. I was never dreamed I would be living up to another 2 months. I'll be 85 years. Never dream of that. I see too much misery in my life. As a little boy, could not attend school. And I start this program, I can well remember, and telling the nations, after World War II, I was a very young boy, and we have to go and scrape salt on the cliff for mother to cook food for us. And I warn that we are sliding towards that end. And might be almost there, you know. We're almost there. It's painful. I can cry every day for what happened to my country, Dominica, which in my generation bring it to 80s. In my generation, we work hard, tirelessly. Today, people go and work 6 hours, 4 hours, and they go back at home wasting time. We were sleeping in trash. Rain wetting us in those old jupa. Walking. We walking until dark. There was no fear of anything. Nobody was scaring us. No snake, no nothing. Working hard to bring Dominica where it is there. And I look around, come and destroy this country, and people clapping for the destruction of Dominica. I say shame. Matt, in the Bible, that is in Genesis chapter 8, verse 22 says, as long as this world standing, sowing and harvest, winter and summer, hot and cold, day and night will not cease. You can look that was a scripture, do your own analysis, because spiritual thing is very difficult. It is not given because of your education, it is not given because of social science, yes, not because that's social science. It has nothing to do with that. God have his way to work, and it is difficult for man to understand God's way. After the suffering of Job, and Job's richer stage to blame everything, but they were saying, in all of this, Job sinneth not. But the point about it, but God said to Job, who put the sun there? Who put the moon there? Who put the stars there, Job? If I could have done everything, Job, what you're going through is just a minor things. I was coming up here today, and I have a catheter, it bursts, you know, and my pants start to wet with urine, you know. And I was told that in the hospital I have no catheter. I rush by Jolly and I buy 2. And I put a new one on me, and I have the other one. Catheter. Sirs, government put catheter in the hospital. Sometimes, Matt, I figure out whether I'm an elderly person in Dominica. I wonder if I am a real elder person in Dominica. And if I am, why the government speak about elderly and I am excluded from the group? Are you there?
I'm here.
Matt, let me tell you something. I'm not an educated person, but I would like to read something on that chronicle.
You would.
Will you allow me, please?
Yeah, but let's take Mr. Joseph because we want to come back on the subject at hand there.
Yeah.
Mr. Carrot.
Yeah, we will take.
Making comments. So we'll come back to you, Mr. Louis. Let's listen again to Mr. Carrot.
So the man sits there, abuses people on the radio, scandalizes people on the radio, and playing big boucher, putting his suit, his triple suit, and go in England in the Privy Council to fight a case, and then you come in Dominican and tell him and you only have $300 a month. So when you do the maths, 44 years the man will take to pay. Linton is about 60 years. So I mean the man will be older than Mapampo when he will pay that money back. I will tell you before I move on that one of the cases which the ministers brought against him, where he asked for $1 million, I am saying to Linton tonight that when the court make its pronouncement on how much you have to pay Roosevelt's carrot, if you don't have money, Mr. Linton, you have to go and work on my farm for me.
Is something wrong, Mr. Joseph, in working on a farm?
Everything is wrong. First, let me say that that clip must survive for a very long time. That people who want to get involved in government and politics need to know how best to conduct themselves and how best to send a message. This message was for a directed audience who would laugh in the background and not understand and comprehend what is happening. Lennox Linton is a threat to the Prime Minister and his government and most other people. Lennox Linton, Honorable Linton, is credible. He got where he got by working hard and educating himself. Lennox Linton, against the odds and many people, went to the highest court in the world, to London, on his own merit, to the Privy Council, and presented a case. It is irrelevant if they won the case or lost the case. They listened to him and they gave him that platform and he earned it. Do you know anyone else being the Prime Minister who's able to complete that feat or reach there? And you are being critical. Rather than saying to the public one of our own has gone down there, rather than going down to the dirty politics, you elevate your own people. So you enjoy leaving your people, having them laughing at something that someone has taken on board, rather than just saying, I'm going to lose the case. But you went up there and presented yourself and they listened to you. I saw it live while I was in London on stuff. I saw it live.
He did an excellent job as well.
He did an excellent job. How many lawyers who are great go before the court and lost cases? He's not the first. He's not going to be the last. The Prime Minister has nothing of quality to talk about, of substance. He has to go down to the gutter to address his people. You are opening a bridge for Dominica, which is a Dominica thing. He limits himself by having everybody line up in chairs all in red, which does not represent Dominica, but a genuine legal political party, whereas there are other political parties. So the differentiation between promoting a party, promoting the country, you have created a bridge over troubled waters. That's what has happened. So we have a lot of problems going on underneath, and the bridges that these guys is well painted. Dominicans do not be fooled. When you cross that bridge, I want you to tell yourself there's problem underneath. It's a bridge over troubled waters. It's insulting what he did. He should go to Parliament and apologize. There are many people who have tried. I was watching a program on TV last night, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, what they have gone through, and they were both shot. Today, their name lives on. There are other crooks and criminals in the States who have been shot. You don't hear about them, but you put them to pass. Mr. Skerritt has to ask himself the question. If his friends and his close confidants don't tell him, where does he want to be in the next couple of years and what would he like to be remembered? Because this will go down into the history. He's just put this thing that will go down into the history about himself as being an odd minister or a prime minister. He has to make up his mind where he is. Well, this is not good.
Let me just drop in here because his final comment there I was talking about inviting Mr. Lennox Linton to work on his farm.
What is going wrong in the farm?
I said, what is wrong with the farm?
What is wrong with the farm? Who are you insulting? Can you not get workers on your own farm? Dominica is an agricultural community. My family, my father, my parents had a farm in Pokase. When carnival time comes, you want to go to carnival? Monday, we first go into the farm in Pokase to get food. After that, you will enjoy yourself. That is the discipline that was instilled in all of us and many others. He does not understand, the Prime Minister, how to instill discipline in Dominican people. It's mepui, it's foul play, and it's nonsense talk. This thing irritates me, and I'm saying again, when you are training discipline for development, for agriculture, in mass media, in mass communication, you are rigid in that classroom when lecturers talk to you because you are given assignments and you are given homework. And when it sticks into you, this is the way to go. It is difficult to go away from that discipline. I cannot reduce myself to this nonsense. Dominicans must not reduce themselves to that nonsense they are hearing about the farm. He tried something. Dominican people got a lot of information from what Honorable Linton has done to account for certain things which we in the country have a right to. What you have to do is to go to Parliament, talk about it, be decent, lead a parliament, rather than going in this mepui and nonsense.
Because I invited, of course, more particularly Mr. Louis here today. Everything is owned. Mr. Louis is a achieved farmer in Dominica, acres of land in Syndicate.
Yeah.
And you're trying to say, well, if you don't have money, then go to the farm. What is this discriminatory comment about? Mr. Louis?
Matt, you see, let me tell you something. As I told you, for me to go into those things into detail, I tell you I want a whole lot. Because look, that paper insult the farming community also. You may not know it. You may read it.
No, I haven't read that one, no.
But it is insulting to the people of Dominica and the farmers.
What's it total? What's the title?
327 people graduated at the State College. Yeah. 300. Mm-hmm. You can see where we are going, you know. I'm not an educated person can do their own reading.
But you are an intellectual.
See? But let me tell you this. Dr. Peters, we are told there 327 students bid farewell to the Dominica State College, DSC, at the 15th commencement graduation ceremony on July 12, 2017 at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium, WPSS. With the introduction of new programs which can eventually subsidize to national building. Look at the programs, you know. For the first time, students graduated with degree in fashion design, mass communication, and planning technology. Is that Dominica looking forward to when it comes to build up Dominica?
Nothing in agriculture.
Now you get my point.
It's complementary. There's nothing wrong with those
degree. Nothing wrong.
But it has to be complementary.
But where it fit in
and how
to develop Dominica presently? Where it fit in? No. That is
political fashion.
My Lord in heaven. Thank you, sir. I'm glad you did to help me, you know. Because I'm a stupid guy. But let me read you another statement made by Vince Henderson. Yes, it is lamented to see those things. Dr. Henderson exhorted the awardees to avoid the inevitable trap and embark on the Dominican project. He called on the class of 2017 to stay away from petty issue which continue to pervert our society and occupy our time.
Is this addressed to the Prime Minister? What he said about Lennox Linton? Stop getting engaged in petty nonsense. Was this addressed to him?
No, I mean, Look, the people talking, I mean, the people get educated. Who am I to withstand them? But here are the wording. Look at the Prime Minister and look at what the
Vince
Henderson are saying. Now, look at what Peter Seja said on the same paper. I want to read that, you know, because I read it and I want to read it, you know. Peter Seja, Minister of Education and Human Resources Development, Honorable Peter Seja, employ the student to become our greatest generation as Dominica is there to develop into prosperity. He entreated that they focus on our common challenges and fill the gaps that still trouble our existence as a nation. You don't have to ask for a job. You can create your own job. Be that generation that when it came to employment, you look not outwards, but employer, but rather inward for self-direction. While he commended the farmer here on the island, Saint Jean said, fortify the graduation to be that generation, not just farmers, but seeker of the implement solution to the black seeker toka seekers for optimal production. That is 3 great men. 1 doctor, 2 doctor, and a parliamentarian. To me, that is very insulting to the farming community in Dominica. And then, I want to make it short. When I looked in the statement Mr. Skerrit said about Mr. Leonard Linton, now, $1 million, the court case is called already. It's already decided Lennox Linton going to charge to pay $1 million. That is what it is. Everything done already. And Mr. Lennox Linton is 60 years, he said. So make the maths. I hear maths, you know, Matt Peltier. When the Prime Minister tell the back cartel, the Fonds Saint-Jean, the coming budget on the 27th, the back cartel, the commission, the federal estate area, whatever them, $400,000. That is maths. Huh? To do what with $300,000? If it was $300 million, I could understand that. But $300,000 to buy boat and machine? Don't the Prime Minister know that a boat may cost $100,000? A machine may cost close to that, etc. How many farmers who are going to benefit it? Is that Mr. Skerrit collect a few men or 2 or 3 men? Are you going to use that money just to bribe them? No. Then, $1 million. You fail. You will fail your age. You'll be like Mapampo. Look at the Prime Minister addressing the country. And we have the laughing, I call them laughing red. That is my word, eh? Laughing red. Clapping that. They don't find that is insultive to them. But in Dominica presently, because I tell you I will not have time to go into that. In Dominica presently, listen to me. I borrowed that word from Donald Trump. There is extreme poverty if you do your own vetting in Dominica to check the poverty. I don't know for where you live, Point Michel, but I know where I live. Dominica was start to grow in my experience. From since 1950, Dominica start to grow. In the 50s, grow, when I tell you grow. In the 60s, 60s, England opened, and people start to go to England. Mr. Libra said, those who are going to England, best you do apply for land, because we're going to take land from who the largest state, they could survey it, and every farmer will get 5 or 6 or 8 acres of land. But if you go to England, forget about it. Because you wanted to stay on the island, what? To develop the island. There was no roads. So people run to England. But before I went to England, I make my application, and I went to England. When I went to England, I see, listen, banana called green gold. On the paper in England, you know, reading it, green gold. I heard that Libra is cutting roads. When I left, they was cutting the road from Batali to Kulbistri. That's why I left them. But when I came, they cutting roads. I came back to Dominica. I reached here on a Wednesday night. Thursday night, I went up Salisbury to see my mother. And Friday, I am in Garden up to today. No turning back. Are you there? No turning back. And then Matt Peltier, the country grew until it reached a stage in the 60s, in the 70s, in the 80s, in the 90s. 2000, I buy free portion of land in Milton from the Shillingford again. Free portion of land, you know them way? Eh? Today I call them eternal land. They are so important to me. People want me to sell it for them. They are so important for me. I call them eternal land. I can explain that if you want, but not on the air now. Then, Dominica grow. But since it takes 17 years, Dominica start to slide down. I don't know. No. You tell me where it started, how it started. Once you see, I'm going to go there. Once you see agriculture is where it is today, there will be no progress at all in Dominica. Once you see agriculture is where it is today, Mr. Skelton went overseas to sell the passport business. They have their money, but thank God, Mr. Lennox, let me give you a scripture, please, because you are a great man. I want to give you an encouraging scripture. Look in Joshua chapter 1 and read it, sir. Read Joshua chapter 1 for me, please. My servant Moses is dead, God says to Joshua. Arise. Just I was with Moses, so I will be with you. Be very courageous. I want to tell, not my words, sir. Look in Mr. Lennox, please. Look in Joshua chapter 1. And you will read for yourself. You can go to chapter 2. But let me tell to the Parabella told me once to come down from my high horse. But I'll tell you how people can come from a high horse. God will bring people down from the high horse. I am not in high horse. If I tell you the way I raised up, when rain was falling, I took under my mother's bed to shelter because the house leaking.
You remember where you came from?
I can remember everything. I never been in a high horse. Never been. And I will never be in a high horse in the world. Now, in Daniel chapter 4, Daniel chapter 5, we have two great kings. King Nebuchadnezzar and King Belshazzar. Nebuchadnezzar, who was controlling the entire world, I should say, then he was eating grass on the open field. Belshazzar take the vessels of God's people, sanctify playthings, and have his feast with his concubine and his wife, drinking from those vessels. And then there was a writing on the wall, many tickets, etc. And then Belshazzar died the very same night. Are you there? God can bring up and he
God can bring down. We got to allow Mr. Joseph to leave at this time. Yeah. Of course, he spent many minutes, if I say over an hour. So, Mr. Joseph, let me allow you again to give your final thoughts.
Mr. Joseph, to have your will.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Matt, for inviting me, and it was a pleasure to share some of my thoughts and my concerns with Dominicans and the wider world. And for those who called in and those who have WhatsApped me and indicated it's a good program. It's a pleasure sitting with Mr. Louis here as well.
Yes, I know you listen every time.
I listen all the time to what they have to say. These are the stalwarts that we have to listen to and learn from them and so forth. So it's a pleasure. Thank you very much. I look forward to the next time.
All right. Thank you again.
Good.
I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
And blessings for the rest of your day.
So keep on doing it.
Thank you. So, Mr. Louis, you have 5 minutes, so you we can wrap it up. This one.
Sure, man.
Yes.
Now, getting into the statement of our Prime Minister, and I tell you that hold on, to listen to several Prime Ministers telling a leader of opposition, the man terrified by Lennox, the man is afraid of Lennox, to tell him after Mr. Skerrit, who called the case not ready to know it is $1 million, how you try you're going to get, he's going to pay $1 million. Which judge that already judged the case? How many lawyers that was on the case? The case already decided by you. I hope these corrupt judges and lawyers, I hope they are listening, because that's a case that whether it is a true case or not, it's supposed to be crashed because already the case is decided by our Prime Minister Skerrit.
Well, the judge made some comments at the early stage, but we have already heard from Mr. Linton and his lawyers that they'll be going to the appeal. So the appeal court will decide.
Well, I believe the appeal court also listened to our voices and just crushed that case completely. It's already decided. I don't know what lawyers say, what judges say. If the case already says Skerrit says he got $1 million, you know that Lennox got $1 million, then the case Skerrit say, all right, you want to pay 300 and blah, 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 blah. Then we are not going there. All I want you to do, you don't want to go to jail, come on my farm to work with me. Mr. Skerrit,
what is wrong with working on a farm?
What is wrong? That's what is wrong to work on a farm? Mr. Skerrit, if you was a teacher, if you was been teaching all your lifetime, you would never reach where I am as a farmer. What's wrong with a farm? I raised up 13 children on a little cutlass called Dokuba. 13 children, and buy all the properties I have. And then you, but I tell you I'm not telling you.
I know that.
You tell him to go to the bank and you put so many $1 million there, take a loan on my property. Mr. Skerrit, my question to you fast is, where are the market and what we are supposed to plan? Just tell us that, please. Go on the air. When you go into your whatever meetings you have, tell the audience the plan. Look, we have market there and there. We have market for that, and then whatever. And then, Mr. Skerrit, I want you to tell us where are the roads that we can go to the farm, to work the farm. Where are the planting materials coming from? Mr. Skerrit, the money you have been wasted all around Dominica, if you put it in good use, Dominica would not be where it is. Mr. Skerrit, he talked to a lot of stakeholders, the hoteliers, they are happy to get, Mr. Man, how much money Gary Hotel, Southern Place Hotel, Evergreen Hotel, how much money they can go and draw from the bank on a loan? How are they going to pay it back? I want those answers. I put in those questions for Mr. Skerrit to answer those questions. You telling someone to go and take loan at the 8th bank. How are we going to pay it back? Are you giving everybody handout? Erica Pass and destroy Kulbi Street. You call Kulbi and P7 a disastrous area. Up to now, you haven't done nothing to Kulbi Street. Huh? Myself, my house depleted. I lost my transport. I lost everything I have under in the kitchen, my stove, my hot water, everything gone for this way. Up to now, I'm getting a black cent.
And you're giving money all about.
And you're giving money all out. That's what a shame when you're talking. Think about me. I want you to think about me. Not even coffee I can get at the hospital. I went to the hospital. I was destroying the hospital. I am afraid to go to the hospital. I got St. Richard. I spent 2 weeks for my own personal safety and pain I going through. Up to now I'm in pain. As I sitting down there, I still in pain. I just put a new catheter this morning on myself. Because at the hospital at old man, why should I buy
and no coffee at the hospital?
Are you there? I'm not sure that because I didn't go there, but they told me there's no coffee at the hospital.
But we have to wrap it up here.
But
and
nevertheless, but I'm happy. I'm happy I'm here. At least people hear my voice.
Yes.
I'm still not yet dying. I'm still alive. God bless Dominica. God bless Mr. Brewer and you and all Dominicans.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming and sharing with us this morning. We'll be back at 1 o'clock. Today we are on from 1 to 2. At 2 o'clock we go to Jolly's Pharmacy. It's a customer appreciation week there. We're taking a break for the news and we'll come back.
Top of the hour news. As it happens, when it happens, wherever it happens. Local, regional, and global. Only on Q95, the big station. Q95DA.com. Right on Q, the big station.